what we're going to do is we're going to fill in this information. We're looking for a 90-day sell-through, and then we're looking for about the number of listings she has. Now, what this does for me is it lets me know, like, when I'm out in the world or I'm sorting, it really lets me know, like, which books are popular, which books aren't popular, which authors are popular, that kind of thing. Because I can't possibly know everything, right? I can't possibly experience and read, one book from each author to kind of get a vibe check. And of course things, up and down in popularity. Like I use Stephen King as my baseline because he's been around forever. He's got a ton of books. So the amount of secondary book sales data is strong, right? So so what we do here is we try to check in on these authors and kind of figure out like how popular they are. For example, like Frida McFadden, who's releasing books still, obviously, can't keep her in stock, and I hardly ever find her on the secondhand market because she's so popular. So if you're a reseller or a book person, or you're processing books, it's kind of nice to actually know who and what the authors are and how popular they are, just so that way you can know beyond a shadow of a doubt that you're picking books that people want. So if you come to my Friday show, that's I try to put books in that show that folks are that want. I know someone wants that, and I know because I have the data, if that makes sense. I'm not one to leave things to chance. So anyway, with having said all that, kind of a vast, long explanation, let's rock out Holly Jackson real quick. And the way that we do this is, if you guys aren't aware, this is eBay research. Doom, doom, doom. Okay, we're in the right spot now. So we're going to write in Holly Jackson. This is like my favorite song ever. Holly Jackson. That is not how you spell Jackson. And then we are going to hit that. And then we are going to make sure we're on last 90 days, which we are. We are in the book category. One thing to point out here is that that can skew your data, and you have to look up both. On the older authors, you need to look at antiquarian and collectible as a book category as well. Sometimes it doesn't, give you a whole lot of new information. Sometimes it does. So what we're looking for here, we have two tabs. Let me see if I can't make this a little smaller for you guys so you can see more information at once. So what we're looking at, yeah, perfect right there. Neat. Okay, cool. We have two tabs here over in the corner. You have sold and you have active, right? Active are all of the listings that are currently on eBay right now. And the number that we're looking for here is total active listings. And in her case, in Holly Jackson's case, it's 1750. Now, what this does is it kind of gives us an idea of how many of her books are on the secondhand market. And sometimes that can be relevant. Like, for example, for R.L. Stine and Goosebumps, the total number of listings is 34,000. So literally like 16 times more than this, over 16 times. The check my math, right? It's early. First cup of coffee. Actually, third cup, but who's counting? I am, apparently. So then in comparison to sell-through rate, it can kind of give you an idea, with some additional bits of evidence, kind of what the secondhand market looks like for those books, and like, why does 34,000 listings, but only 3% of them sell, which is really low comparative. Like, you can see some of the other, like Rick Riordan's 14%, Ian Fleming, which is the James Bond guy, 1750 or 17.5. So everything's relative, as long as your data is apples to apples, and you can infer a lot. So the other data that we're going to pull from this is actually sold. What has actually sold and for how much? And the first number that we're looking for is sell-through. Now, what that means is of the active listings, how many of those listings actually get sold? So about 1 in 5, which is pretty good. It is actually pretty good. And you can see here, we'll sort. I think I can sort by that, right? Sort. I'm a spreadsheet junkie. I love spreadsheets. So let me do, where is the sorting on this? Oh, here it is. I drunk. Sort, would that be Z to A? Yeah. So Holly Jackson's right above Stephen King, and she's right up there with Robert Jordan, who's the Wheel of Time guy. Rebecca Yarros, writes all the romantasy and stuff. Kristen Hanna, right? Or Hannah. I don't know if it's Hannah or Hannah. I don't know if, Krista Broadbent, you know these folks, Sarah Moss. These guys are all like super popular right now. All right, so the other thing that we like to do, now that we've got Holly Jackson on the list, and I know she's actually a wee bit popular than Stephen King, which is kind of cool. Let me, and she writes, I also like to get an idea of everything she wrote. What all has Holly Jackson written? Please show me in publication and series order. Less information is better. Just titles and dates, please. Oop, thank you for the pickup there, my friend. We'll have that out to you today. So while that populates, let's come back over here. And another thing that I want to look out for is like bolos, right? Like what are her most like collectible things that she has in existence? The other thing that I want to get from this list, and this is a list of things that have actually been sold. You can take it to the bank, money is exchanged hands and all that stuff. And then you can see like this title here, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, which I think is the first one, and I think is what a trilogy, I think is what this is. So 575 sold, 119. So that tells me that I should pick up every single one of those that I ever see because somebody's always going to want it, So that's relevant. And then if you go over to sold price, and then if you sort by sold price, you can, it'll sort by the most expensive thing. So you're looking for the most popular book. And then I also like to see what her most expensive book is. And those two aren't necessarily the same thing. Does that make sense? So I got my teacher hat on today. I say, does that make sense? A lot. Especially when I can't see like faces when I'm teaching. Like when you're in a room teaching, like you can see people's faces and you can tell whether or not they're getting it, right? But when you're doing like online stuff, it's like, I can't see your face. You can see my face. Anyway, so this one here, we'll look at just the top couple here and see what she's got going on. Not quite dead yet. So we'll go down to about maybe $50. Is probably good. So let's start at the bottom. We got Not Quite Dead by Holly Jackson. Is that part of a series? Let's see what she's got going on over here. As Good as Dead, novella. Not Quite Dead Yet, as I guess just came out. Are these all part of the series? I don't like how it laid this out. Are they all part of the same series? Are all her books part of the same universe, or are there standalones? Doom. All right, back to that. So this came out in 2025. Autograph signed. It must have just come out, or is this on pre-order? The one, like my biggest like lack of data in my head is like how the actual ordering process works, because I'm not an actual bookstore yet, so I can't like order books from a publisher. So this is cool. What's this? Is this like a fairy loot thing or something? A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, As Good as Dead, and that's the trilogy. Oh, those are pretty. I really like these, what do they call it? Sprayed edges. I don't know how folks find, so I go to some of these other Whatnot shows. I have no idea where you guys find these, all of these sprayed edges books all of the time. Like I'll go to shows and like people like regularly have like 15, 20, 30, 40 new ones. And I'm like, I'm out everywhere looking for books all of the time. I find maybe one a whole week, and I'm literally out almost every day looking. So I don't know. Kudos to you. You don't have to give me your secrets if you don't want to. But I would love to know. In my defense, I spend more time in basements and older folks, like, not a lot of younger readers I'm getting my books from. So this one's cool. What is this? 8 hours. Let me get a photo of this. So this one here is $110. It's a Waterstones exclusive edition. I don't know what a Waterstone is. Is that a store maybe, like a Walmart or something? And it's signed. That's Holly Jackson's signature right there. Sprayed. Oh, that's cool. That is so cool. You can't see me, but I can see you. If you try to run, I will shoot. You have my attention, sir. Oh, you know what? That's check that out. This is why it's probably so expensive. You see that pound sign? Join through a show. Oh, what's up, guys? I didn't know you guys had shared. I appreciate it. The Electric Monkey Watersons has got to be something across the pond, because that is that's a pound sign. So this is Holly Jackson British? Not all of Holly Jackson's books are in the same universe. The Good Girl's Guide to Murder series. So there's 4 now in the series, so it's beyond a trilogy. And then 5 Survive, which is the one we just saw with the $100 signed one. This one we haven't seen yet, reappearance of Rachel Price. And then Not Quite Dead Yet. Okay, so the reason why that Not Quite Dead Yet, that was, I think, a pre-order. So, because I don't think it's released quite yet. So be on the lookout for that. Let's go back over her. Oh, I meant to ask, is Holly Jackson British? And where the hell is Waterstones? I don't care which response you give me. Holly Jackson is British, born and raised in Buckinghamshire or Shire, England. I'm not sure. Waterstones, now branded as Waterstones without the apostrophe, is a major chain of bookshops in the United Kingdom and Ireland. So you guys can see that there. Did you guys know that? I didn't know that. I didn't know any of that. All right, let's come back over here. So this is a British book, signed, bookstore exclusive. So that'd be like a Barnes & Noble exclusive, signed book, which is kind of neat. I will say the UK books do get kind of a premium over here on this side just because they're harder to get. You know what I mean? You get Waterstones from, okay, across the pond. Okay, cool. Yeah. I've not been out that way. That's not true. I've been to London once. I was there on a gig for my previous employer, and I went to the Moscone Cup, which is a huge billiards tournament. It's like the Super Bowl of pool, and I got to cover it. That's what I used to do for a living. Back in the hizzy, as they say. This one here is a Fairy Loot signed, the trilogy, and this thing got listed for $200, but an offer was accepted, so still pretty pricey, I bet. So we'll look at these real quick. There's her signature again. Fairy Loot. Everybody knows Fairy Loot. Always pick up the fairy. Another thing that I think is kind of neat when we do this, because I think it's, especially, again, if you're out there in the trenches, in the bins, in basements, trolling, or I shouldn't say trolling, but troweling. Not troweling, or anyway, dumb joke, too early. A marketplace and stuff, I think it's good to kind of know the covers, because then you'll know when a cover isn't what the cover normally is, and that stands out to you. Now, I know I say this as I show you an alternative cover, but look at that pretty sprayed edges. But it's one of those things. It's like when you study counterfeit money, you spend a lot of time just studying what a real dollar looks like. So when you see something that doesn't look like what it's supposed to, it's not that you know every trick of the trade. You just know that it doesn't look the way it's supposed to. And that's like the first thing that would stand out to you. Now, of course, it's more nuanced than that, but random aside. Ooh, look at those black pages. Ooh, oh, that's cool. Oh, man. How rad is that? God, the art is getting so good. I love where we are with book styling and book clubs. I love the pretty bookshelves. One of my favorite thing on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok and all those places is the bookshelves, like people's pretty bookshelves and stuff. So I think this is more of the same here. This is more of the Fairy Loots. Yep. And that went for quite a bit. So that's cool. And that's what the normal cover looks like. We went through that. So that's kind of that. That's Holly Jackson in a nutshell. Relatively new author. She's got now 4 books in her famous trilogy. So that's cool.